That's what I was kind of talking.
We're on Waslick time.
Walden time.
Walden, that's right, Walden time. Would Waslick time when she's actually on time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Between 5 and 10 after.
Gotcha. Okay, so today we have a pretty good conversation on tap. It's definitely relevant, and it's one that I figured we'd be having at some point. So we have with us right now, of course, Wayne and Rich, and we also have Lee from the Sea Unicorns. Yay! No round of applause for Lee. Come on, there we go. So let's just get right down to it. The Sea Unicorns are they are playing this year. But it's up in the air whether or not they're going to play next year or the year after that, because the Norwich Town Council last night had a meeting whether or not they were going to hire a third party to go ahead and try to market the property elsewhere. So, good morning, Lee.
Morning.
So, what happened at the meeting last night? I mean,
it was a busy night.
Yeah.
There was a very full room. It's a little weird to me. I mean, I know that the stadium certainly pertains to the budget, and the city's having a very hard time with their budget this year, as a lot of towns are. But it just led to a very long night of debate within the city council. But what was truly great to see was the community showing out in support of keeping Dodd Stadium open for baseball. I would estimate that there were 20, 25, potentially even 30 people that spoke in the open forum.
See, I didn't know if there was open forum last night. So
yeah, there is. So anybody could speak on any resolution that was up there. And I'd say that about 3/4 of the people that spoke about Dodd Stadium, and overwhelmingly were in support of keeping it open. I think that there were some great points brought up. Some of it was emotional ties. Some of it was, family ties that lead to emotional ties. For example, guys got up and spoke about their fathers bringing them there when they were kids, and now they're bringing their kids there. And So generations have been able to now go through Dodd Stadium, and they don't want to see that go away, because they want to see their kids to be able to bring their kids there someday. There's also some support for, more different types of events there, which I fully support too. I even mentioned last night that, whether it be the city that is in control of bringing in those other events, or it's our organization, as is currently our right, we definitely need to utilize the ballpark for more than just baseball. It is utilized for more than just baseball, but what else can it be utilized for? So, with that groundswell of support, I think that certainly got some of the council members thinking a little bit. When it came time for the debate on the resolution for Dodd Stadium, which was number 9 out of 11, so you can imagine how long it took to get there. There was some discussion amongst the council members, and ultimately they decided not to vote on the resolution last night. So
That's awesome.
and
I just don't know what to say.
They just basically
It's good that they didn't vote it down.
I would rather see that than them
Sure.
voting in favor of trying to sell it, because
Right.
my fear is that when they put this thing to market, is that it's not going to stay open as a baseball stadium. I mean, I can't think of any owner, except for a private investment company, that would potentially purchase the stadium outright to keep it open as a baseball stadium. I won't pretend to have all the answers for the city, obviously, but I brought up and will continue to bring up that I think there are creative solutions through collaboration to be able to keep that stadium running and make it viable and make it so that the city is not losing money in their budget to keep the stadium open every year. But I think that there needs to be some good discussion around it, and that is where the council members decided to land, was exploring all options to make sure that the resolution in front of them is the resolution that they want to be able to vote on, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Rich, you're shaking your head, so I don't know if you had something cooking there that you wanted to talk
No,
about.
you didn't talk about the guys that brought their kids there that are now bringing their kids there, and grandfathers and all that stuff. And years ago when I was coaching Little League baseball here in town, with a friend of mine, his wife worked there, and they used to have pretty cool things. This is when it was the Navigators, and used to have pretty cool things. You could go there, and they'd have a couple of Navigators. They show you how to throw and pitch a little bit and play, and they all signed balls. I got what's his name?
Roger Clemens, perhaps?
No.
David
Ruben
Cohn.
Rivera.
Ruben Rivera.
I've got 2 balls that are signed by people that were Navigators at the time that went on to be Yankees, and they're probably retired now at this point. But it was good. We used to go to a lot of games up there. It was cheap entertainment. It was, at that time, it was what, $4 or something to go in there?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good. I don't think they should get rid of it. Not at all.
Yeah, and from my perspective, obviously, as the general manager of a team that currently resides in Dodd Stadium, I mean, I look around the city of Norwich, a community that I have invested some time into despite not living there. And, what are your other options for affordable family fun entertainment if you take the stadium away? But again, I don't have the answers. I don't envy the city council this year.
I said this to Mike yesterday. It's not just the Norwich area. It's the whole eastern side here. We don't have anything like that. Yeah, they got the yard goats in Hartford. I'm sure they got something in New Britain still,
and New Britain's in our league. But it's.
But we got nothing over here.
Do you want to drive the 45 plus minutes to Hartford or Worcester
Right.
to catch a game, and it costs more?
Yep.
And parking's more of a pain there than it is at Dodd, and so I just feel like working together. I think there's a solution. I want to be part of helping find that solution if they'll let me. But I just don't want to see it go away for many reasons. And that's just not just the baseball aspect of it. I mean, I brought up last night that, we've hosted a Relay for Life event since 2011, and we've never charged them a dime to do it, so that all the money they raise is actually their money. And the Greater Norwich Area Chamber of Commerce hosts 2 events there because they outgrew every other space in town. And there could be more events coming like that because all of their events are growing. And so if you take away the largest venue in town, granted it's an outdoor venue, so if it rains, you have a little bit of a problem. But
even the inside,
The concourse. They used to do stuff in the concourse.
But I'll tell you, that's where these events are held, is on the concourse, and they use every inch of the concourse, both under the overhang and out. So if it rains, it certainly has an impact on those events. But where else are you going to host those events?
Yeah,
there's been car shows up there. There's been all kinds of stuff up there. Yeah. It's been great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Anything that I've seen on social media over the last couple of days regarding this meeting that was coming up last night, it was pretty much everything was positive. Let's keep Dodd Stadium. There were a couple that were not positive, but they didn't really make, to me, a positive, well, not even a good argument. And one was because, and I kind of talked them down a little bit. We don't like the name. We don't like the name, so we're not going to invest our money in a team called the Sea Unicorns. And I'm like, all right, so you are going to go ahead and judge a team in a league by the name, Yeah. Have you gone to see the Yard Goats? Yeah. I said, but what about then it's like, the kids are right out of high school. I'm like, wait a minute, not so much. It's college ball. And I said, what about Luis Guerrero? I said, he's playing for the Red Sox right now. He's a Futures League kid. Ben Rice for the New York Yankees.
There's a lot.
I mean, there's just a couple that come off my head right now that are Futures League kids. So what would you say to somebody that said, well, I don't like the name the Sea Unicorns, that's why I don't buy a ticket?
Well, the first thing I'll say to that is, what is a yard goat? Because nobody knows what a yard goat actually is. Yet they're one of the top 5 selling merchandise brands in the country for minor league baseball. And they're been around longer than us. And, it's tough, right? Because I hear people say that, and I'm like, listen, first of all, thank you for talking about it, because if we had just named ourselves the Narwhals, nobody'd be talking about us. The Sea Unicorns name does invite discussion, but you're right. I mean, if a team name is the reason that you're not going to come, that's an awfully silly reason to not come. And, to your second point about the level of play, these are college kids that are striving to become potentially professional players. And, those last 10 years that we were in the New York Penn League with the Connecticut Tigers and in the Tigers organization, we were getting a lot of very young players, some of which were fresh out of college, some were fresh out of high school, some were fresh off the islands. And they didn't play a brand of baseball that was actually good.
Yeah.
They made the same mistakes that the college kids are making, but the college kids are much more accessible to the fans. They'll sign autographs. I have to stop them from signing autographs mid-game because somebody's going to get hit by a line drive. They will, after games, sign autographs all night long if need be. They will talk to the fans and get to know. Pro guys didn't do that. As soon as they put that pen to paper, they are professional players on the job at all times. And while they'll sign at certain times of the day, they're not as accessible as these kids are. And then on top of that, when you would watch the pro guys up through 2019, they might hang on the dugout railing a little bit. Most of them are sitting back on the bench. You don't hear a whole lot of chatter. These college kids, that's all it is. It's just constant, hey, I love that.
Yeah.
How can you not get excited to come to the stadium and hear that? And then they get even more jazzed up on a Friday night when we have fireworks after the game and there's 3,000-4,000 people in that stadium. I'm tired of all the comments about how empty the place is every night. Well, clearly you're coming on the wrong nights. But if you're coming at all, I appreciate it. Please keep coming, keep talking about it, because it gets more people interested. And, in a 6,000 seat stadium, you're going to have a really hard time selling it out, even if professional baseball came back at this point for this region. It's just not a well enough populated area to fill 6,000 seats. But if we're drawing 4,000, I'll take that all day long.
And if they bring pros back, then the price of the tickets go up too. So you make it even worse on that end.
Yeah, they may. It depends on the level of baseball,
right?
But because I know for sure that Hartford and Worcester have sections that are as cheap as us, but other sections that are a lot more than us. But the one thing we want to continue to pride ourselves on is being part of the community and also providing the community a place to come and chill for 2.5, 3 hours, catch some entertainment, catch some cheap concessions, because our concessions prices can't be beat based on what you would normally pay in a stadium or an arena, and just have some fun. And we're playing winning baseball, 2 championships in a row. That certainly helps.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I told you, I tell people all the time, I've told you the story too, Lee, is just walking, into the stadium, you just get this, at the beginning of the game, you get a big league feel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right from the overhead, the overhead announcer, PA announcer, who's awesome. Is he coming back this year?
Mm-hmm.
See? Just to the way everything is formulated. And when you walk into Dodd Stadium, you're not in the same area of what you're seeing on social media comments from a couple of naysayers. You're in a completely, big league environment.
Yeah.
It's big league ball. Even what I like most? Wooden bats.
Yes.
Yeah.
The wooden bat. They're not using aluminum bats at all.
Ding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are they using in the major leagues? Well, wooden bats.
Wooden bats.
Barrel bats.
So was that something? Was that something that was part of the whole Futures League organization? Was just wooden bats to get these kids ready for possible major league play?
Summer collegiate baseball has always used wooden bats. I mean, the Cape Cod League, before that too, there was the league in Alaska was a very popular one. But all the summer collegiate leagues have always used wood bats because it is certainly partly a training ground for potentially going professional. The scouts at the major league and minor league levels certainly want to see these kids handle a wood bat as early as possible. Aluminum bats do cost a lot, but at the same time, they don't break as easily, obviously, as a wooden bat. So, at the collegiate level and the high school level, I understand the use of the aluminum for that purpose.
See, I never even thought of it like that. I just figured
it's mostly a cost thing for that, without a doubt. Honestly, I think, too, that, most of the players would certainly prefer to use wood, especially because if they have aspirations of signing a pro contract, they know they're going to have to use it eventually. Sure. That's just always been a summer collegiate thing, is that wood bats are what gets used.
So let's talk about the season in a second. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about the upcoming season and hopefully beyond. And be back in a minute with Lee Walter from the Sea Unicorns right here on SNSN Sports.
Today's program is being brought to you by the Burns Agency in Dayville and Norwich. Home, auto, life insurance, all from a family-owned agency since 1932. Call 860-774-8549 or find them on the web at burnsagency.com and find out why you'll buy better at Burns. The Burns Agency, a Hub International company. Strain Family Motors on Route 12, Lisbon. Quality used cars like the SNSN Strain Family Motors Mobile that you will see at all SNSN sports events. Oil changes, remote car starters, all available and more in their service department. And if you really want to turn up the excitement, rent a Polaris Slingshot for the day and live it up. All available at
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah, 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
All right, so I'm going to indulge in the prayer ball, and you'll probably hear it bunking around a little bit like a cue ball. But let's talk opening day. It's coming up just a few weeks.
It is going to be here before we know it. Saturday, May 31st. It's opening night for the home schedule. We'll have already played 3 road games at that point, weather permitting. Gates will open at 4:30, which is an hour earlier than our traditional 5:30 gates opening. We're going to, try to get people in early because we know that, getting up into the industrial park and parking can be tough on opening night. So we encourage people to come in early and start to experience things. We'll have a magnet schedule that we'll be giving away for people to throw on their fridges and keep track of the schedule all season long. Post-game fireworks, of course, which is always a huge hit. And, hoping to, become the Futures League's first three-peat champions in their history. It's going to be a good night and the first of many games that opening week for us. We'll also be home the next day, Sunday, at 1:00, new start time for Sunday. Please make sure everybody remembers that because
why the difference in starting times?
We had some reasons for it. The players and coaches kind of like the earlier start time because a lot of the other teams around the league have done it. And I talked to some of the other teams around the league and, they feel like it's been successful for them, not only for tickets, but also concessions. And for the players, it almost gives them an extra day off of sorts. By playing at 1:00, you're probably done 3:30. You get that whole night off. We're off on Mondays as a league-wide policy. And then you don't play again usually until Tuesday night unless there is a morning game for whatever reason. So it's almost like they get 48 hours off. And, we want to make sure the players can remain healthy. Maybe in some cases it gives them a chance to scoot home if they're not from too far away. But I think, everybody that I've talked to so far loves the idea of playing at 1:00. We just have to make sure that fans know that we're playing at 1:00 because if they show up thinking we're still playing at 4, the game might already be over when they get there.
Park lot will be empty, right?
Yeah, except for maybe my car and a few others because we just haven't finished closing up yet. But and this isn't the first time we've changed game times. We used to play at 7 every day, and then we switched it to 6:30. And the first year we thought we put out enough notification of it, but opening night people were thinking 7:00 and game was already a half hour in and people are still trying.
They're just showing up.
Yeah. So we're really trying to make sure people understand that Sunday at 1:00, it's our kids' fun day too. So, we really think that it'll give it a little bit of an attendance boost because especially early in the year when kids are still in school,
right.
You got to go back to school on Monday. Playing at 4 isn't terrible, but you factor in also after the game, they can come down and run the bases, have a catch. That adds an extra half hour, 45 minutes to the day. Now all of a sudden you're getting home 7:30, 8 o'clock. You're rushing to put the kids to bed. Now you get done by 4:30, and you can go home and do what you got to do before you get ready to go back to school and work the next day. So people seem excited about it.
Wayne, you got something going on there?
No, that makes sense. A lot of people go to work the next day. They get home at night. But I like the thing about Norwich is you go down there. It's a relaxed environment. You're not rushing around trying to find a parking spot. You're not rushing around trying to get in, get a seat, and all that. It's a relaxed, full environment. I went to a couple of games last year. So, and you see talent there. You see kids hustling around. Talked about this before.
It's good quality ball. Anybody.
The energy from the ball players, are a lot different than what you see on the pros. Because they're not making the big bucks. They're trying to get there, so they're putting in the effort.
They're not making any bucks.
Yeah, they're not making anything. They're not even making little bucks.
But they do have a lot of the kids that come from far, far away. They have host families.
Yeah, so we've been fortunate to have some families that have been with us since the first year of the Sea Unicorns, and each year we've been able to pick up a few extra homes for the players. We do have a league rule that roster caps at 40, and I believe the league rule is that at least 15 players have to have a New England tie, whether they live in New England or they go to school in New England. But traditionally, we're drawing a good portion of our roster from New England or into New York, New Jersey kind of area. And, we're fortunate that, we've been able to have a lot of kids who don't need host families because it has been tough. I mean, COVID changed a lot of things. Not everybody's willing to bring the kids into their homes anymore. But each year we've seen that loosen up a little bit. But the one thing I don't want to do is hamstring the coaching staff into not being able to bring in a player because we don't have a bed for them. So thankfully we've reached a point where we're at a comfortable level. Could we always use more? Yes. Especially because sometimes players are in and out. So in that transition phase, sometimes it's where do we stick a kid while we're seeing somebody else is going to be leaving. We have one family in particular who's been so awesome. They've taken in 4 kids every year.
Wow.
But, I feel like there's been times where we've had 5, 6, maybe even 7 kids just spending at least a couple nights there, because they've been that helpful to us, and they know that we're not trying to abuse the situation. So they're willing to help out while there's some transition sometimes. And
that goes all the way back to the Navigators when you had host families for them.
Yeah, it does.
Just wasn't gonna work, right?
It does. And there was a strong program when we were Connecticut Tigers because everybody needed a place to stay at that point.
Sure.
And unfortunately, after the affiliation change in COVID, we lost basically every host family from that program. And so we had to start from scratch. The first year, I think we really only had 3 places for people to stay. And now we're up to, I'd say 8 to 10 places, but multiple beds in some situations, which is awesome. And, thanks to the community for that. And certainly we're always grateful for more if we can find them. And, it just allows us to keep bringing in better and better players all the time. And, thankfully that there's a lot of great players from Connecticut too. You talk about people like the Jaworskis, obviously, who, each of them played for us for 2 years. And
I'm thinking Bo's finally done.
Well, he won't be back with us this year that I know of. And I think Hunter's legitimately out of eligibility finally. But yeah, I mean, those 2 guys were great for us, over their respective time. But they were local kids who we didn't have to find housing for. And so we're happy for that kind of stuff too. And, we'll just keep plugging along in that regard.
What is what was the biggest, I hate to strike on a negative point, but what was the biggest piece of negativity from the town side to say, all right, well, we need to maybe start thinking about possibly selling the stadium? What's one of their big sticking points?
I think it just all comes down to their budget right now. Every town is feeling the crunch, especially not knowing what's going to happen with the state, let alone the federal government. And, so everybody, every business of any kind is crunching pennies right now. And, people fail to realize that, all these towns and state and federal governments, they are a business too. Right? I mean, they're no different than any private business. They have budgets they have to fall in line with. And, ultimately it is the taxpayers who are going to feel the burden. And it reaches a point where the taxpayers can't do it. In Norwich, especially, that's a town filled with a lot of senior citizens on fixed incomes who, if their taxes go up, they have to go without something else that might be vitally important to them.
Yeah.
So I don't envy them at all, and I fully understand why they feel the way they do. I just hope they understand too that sometimes the dollars can be outweighed by something community driven, like a stadium can be. And so we'll see. I mean, again, creative thinking and collaboration are the keys right now. And if ultimately an agreement can't be reached through that creative thinking and collaboration for the city to continue to own the stadium, then they got to do what they got to do. But I think a lot of people are going to fight against it to make sure every stone is turned over to see where that solution is.
Then they have to support it, though. That's, they could fight against it and win that battle, but then they got to step up and support that.
Yeah, I won't discuss that part of it, obviously. Right. I mean, it's, everybody's idea of support is different too, right? Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's just showing up. I mean, you
come to the games. Pay you $5 at the door or $10 at the door. I mean, that's supporting it.
Yeah, of course.
Bring a friend.
Yeah,
if you have some, Mike.
I don't have any friends like Eeyore.
Oh, wait. Spoken like the true angry Republican that he is, Wayne Malin.
But no,
Are you still angry?
It's a tough town.
It's a very
like I
tough
said,
town.
you got the seniors
No,
and you've got people that are low end earners.
Yes.
It's not a wealthy town,
Yeah.
and you just can only get so much out of it.
That's it.
No, they got a lot of stuff going on there.
Sure. People go to Norwich because it's big in social services.
A lot of stuff
It's
as
not
far
kidding
as
you. I
services.
mean,
They got
that's
police,
what you got.
they got fire, they
I
got.
worked there. I know.
So yeah,
Even the utility, Norwich Department of Public Utilities.
Yep. You'd be surprised
but
how
it
much they give away
just doesn't have to be Norwich support.
to not be that guy.
Us, you got our town, you got Lisbon, you got a bunch of small towns.
Sure.
That go down there and watch
wealthy
baseball.
area, yeah.
They go down there and watch baseball. It's
Sure.
something to do.
It's great to go watch, an affordable baseball game.
Yeah.
Travel to Boston and New York is going to cost you how much, right?
Yeah, for sure. Got to take out a second mortgage.
Tripping hazards.
Company I used to work with,
Camera.
they used to do fan appreciation day every year at Yankee Stadium. And you would get a couple of buses, and you, your kids, your wife, whatever. I mean, barrels full of beer and grinders for everybody. And I'm sure it was an expensive day back then, and that was back in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. Yeah, I can't imagine it.
What about who's the loudest town? Like, on one side you put like Norwich, and on the other side you put New London, and have who's going to win or something like that. And just have.
I'd love to be able to find that out someday. Maybe we just, set it up where each section is a different town in Eastern Connecticut, and we go section to section. But we got
That'd be kinda cool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Got a long way to go before we figure that part out.
So what time did the meeting get out last night? Because you look pretty tired.
I am exhausted. So I finally walked out of that building about 11:30, give or take, maybe 11:45.
You know it's an important meeting when it lasts forever.
Oh yeah.
There was fatigue
And it's
throughout
not-
the building.
And then
last night.
they table some of the issues.
That's
Well, they tabled the vote, which is
They tabled
that's a
the
good
vote.
thing.
Undecided.
What about the owner of the Sea Unicorns? Is it something that he or that group would be interested in?
Not buying it, no.
No. So what happens to the Sea Unicorn? And this is I know I'm really it's way too early to tell, but let's say Dodd Stadium does get sold. I mean, there's still a possibility that it's used for baseball.
Yeah.
Slim, instead of
but possible.
well. And the other thing is where do the Sea Unicorns go?
Back into the Arctic waters. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're going to do everything. Our ownership group is going to do everything they can to keep the team in Norwich for the short and the long haul. Beyond that, who knows? Is it possible to relocate somewhere else? Does the team just get shut down? I mean, those are questions that the investor group will have to figure out if Norwich doesn't work. But they are committed to making Norwich work first and foremost. And we'll see.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
I got nothing. I need sleep.
nothing. Yeah, you get some sleep. All right, get the heck out of here, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you soon enough.
Yeah,
Anyway.
for sure. But appreciate it. And, one thing I want to make sure people do know, because obviously there was a lot of comments on socials when that post was out about the vote, is that no matter what happens, we do have the 2025 season starting in just about 3 weeks. And we will play that full season. And then, we'll see where the future lies. So make sure to come out and enjoy some baseball this summer. And hopefully we get some much better weather than we're getting this week. And, especially on those fireworks nights and any other busy night that we think we're going to have. So
in a way, it was kind of you're almost in the same situation as last year.
Very much so.
Or is it a little more dire this year?
Rained every weekend.
I don't know if I would necessarily say it's more dire, even though it might sound more grim based on, where the city is with actually trying to push this thing to vote for possibly selling it. But, it's either way, it's the unknown. We can't plan for more than 1 year at a time. And that hurts. You want to be able to talk to the sponsors about maybe some multi-year deals, and you want to be able to purchase things you're going to need for multi-years, but it's hard to do that when you don't know if you're going to be there. So
All right. I texted him last night at like 11:20.
Yeah, I think the meeting had literally just ended when you texted me.
I texted him and I said, all right, I said, I'm taking a gamble. You're probably still up.
Yeah, still up and still at City Hall.
So, City Hall. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Appreciate you
thank
coming
you.
in, and we'll see you real soon.
Yeah.
So, and go see Unicorns.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we'll be back in a minute with just me, Rich, and Wayno the Wino.
Let's see if we can rattle some cages.
Nice.
This is coffee, by the way.
That's what it's
True or false?
It's got Bailey's in it, but still.
True or false?
You ever drink Bailey's from a shoe?
True or false? Unicorn.
Life is full of choices. At Jewett City Savings Bank, we can make one choice easy, finding the right checking account. We offer a range of affordable accounts to fit your budget and needs, and each gives you the freedom to access your money the way you want, online, through our mobile app, or with your debit card. It's your money and your choice. To learn more about the account that's right for you, stop by one of our offices or visit us at jcsbank.com. Jewett.
Is it safe to visit the dentist? In a word, yes, especially if that dentist is Dr. Katzoff and the staff at Griswold Dental Associates. They follow all the latest safety protocols while doing what they do best, taking care of you. From preventive to restorative, your dental care couldn't be in better hands. To schedule your appointment, call Griswold Dental Associates today, 860-376-2626. That's 860-376-2626.
Don't care. No, actually, when the commercials run, it mutes the microphones. So,
First Amendment. Just remember that.
yeah, we were talking about Old Greg. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Old Greg. All right, let's. There we go. So, you seem like a duck out of water talking baseball a little bit. Like
No. I don't watch a lot of baseball like I used to. That's for sure. Red Sox, whatever. I don't even know who's on the team now.
No, there's subjects that we get into, and I'm sitting here like, huh?
Yeah,
I have no
it's. But local sports like that, I went to a few games last year, and I went to a couple of the high school games that were there. It was interesting. So, I mean, it's easy to get in and out. It's a couple hours entertainment, and you actually see kids hustle down the first base line to beat out a throw instead of just jogging. Because I already made my couple $1 million this week.
Don't care. I'll hit the ball. You're gonna run for me.
That's part of the reason I guess I'm kind of turned off on a lot of professional sports. I guess.
So, town news: the borough elections were last night, and
nothing
changed. Okay, moving on.
Nothing changed. Same people.
Nothing changed.
Same stuff.
But we had a record number of votes last night. We had 108 votes. Say 4%, a little over 4% of the voters in the borough. Yeah. 108 votes.
We have how many people in the borough? 2,900, something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, it's crazy.
I'm so glad that people are jumping in and taking part.
Community involvement.
Yeah.
Excellent. it's probably probably about the same number of people you get in a crowd at Dodd Stadium. Maybe that's sad, but it's not as bad as I got a text last night from Danielson had 20 votes. So there you go.
Jesus, Danielson, and that's a big area too. But they were all uncontested, right? So why vote, right?
Well, I'm thinking something about the state statute has you do that anyway, right? So
What, have an election?
you got to have an election.
I think you have to.
Give people a chance to
You
vote.
just can't appoint people because they're uncontested.
Yeah, they're
Because
uncontested.
They have to be voted in.
Their last name's Putin or something. I mean, come on.
Oh, wow. So,
uncontested.
well, here's something.
Uncontested. He kills everybody that runs against him.
Here's something just as bad. Lori Sorter, who won it again, she got. I said she got school checked. She was uncontested.
Yep.
Because he was uncontested 1 year. So.
I was told that your name was somebody voted for you. Was it you? Because it's spelled wrong, so I figured you put
Hell
your name
no,
in there.
it was not me.
Yeah, she was uncontested, and so was the
One write-in for Mike
the
Menarson.
clerk, which was
Who?
I don't know.
Who's that silly?
I don't know.
Karen Langlois. She ran uncontested, and so did Linda Cody, the treasurer. Yeah. The Burgesses, there was two that ran against the 4 that could have made a difference there. But yeah, no, it's all the same people.
So, but still, the king of the hill is the Burgermeister Meisterburger, Lori Sorter.
Yeah. I'm sure you're going to get a delivery of cookies and whoopie pies now.
Why? I had nothing to do with it. And I mean, I don't know. She's that's one of those positions she can have as long as she wants it. To be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
nobody else seems to be interested in it.
I don't think anybody would beat her. You know what I mean?
She would have to do something terribly wrong to lose that seat. Something that would just be detrimental to the borough. And I just don't think that would ever happen.
No, not at all. I mean, I go back to. I mean, there's so many different like there was. I don't know if you remember John Connolly.
Yeah,
who's not with us anymore. Mr. Jewett City Hall here. The warden.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Jewett City Emeritus now, because now he lives in Groton. Big Al. And then Timmy took over, which Timmy, had been a resident
all his life.
Well, so had Al.
Yeah.
At that point. And then, I can't believe somebody voted for it. Come on, you're pulling my leg.
I don't know.
Well, you don't know. Why you say it?
I didn't say it.
I said
did.
I said it.
Were you pulling my leg?
I was told that
True or false?
Somebody had written your name in. I thought it was you because you said you voted.
I didn't. No, I sure as hell didn't vote for myself.
I don't think the tabulator
Vote
picked
for
up
me.
any. I don't think they picked up any write-ins.
So you're lying.
Yeah. Am I? Is it true or false?
I'm going to say false.
So, anyway.
False. All right. So Thursday, we're going to bring back Psychic Thursday.
Oh, boy.
Any of you guys going to show up?
No.
Thursday, probably not. This week, that's for sure. No, not this week.
So I don't know how often we're actually going to do it, but I think it's fun to do once in a while.
Yeah,
so,
people like it.
Yeah.
It's been, a couple months since you've done it?
Yeah. Maybe not so long.
Maybe ask her how the massage parlor worked out.
Oh, yeah. They're gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We heard.
Round them up.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
She probably saw it coming in the cards anyway.
They used to stand by the train tracks.
Really?
And handing out brochures. Well, you come get rubbed on. You come over there. And they were hawking, people when the train was coming by.
Yeah, right.
So and the cars are sitting there waiting for the train to go by.
Yeah.
Going up and down the
well, that people slow down to go over the tracks, so get their attention. It's only
they're stopped, and so it's easy. Here you go.
Oh, right after the tracks, there's a stop sign.
Hey,
Yo, you give this to your husband.
Good time. We like you.
Tell him to visit. He was there yesterday.
We miss Joe so much.
What I laugh at, they got a police force up in Plainfield, so that's kind of a lot more police presence up there than we got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think here they were probably onto it, but they just can't let you know until the final moment.
Oh yeah, keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
Building a case.
Yep.
Hey, Justin says, good to see you guys back.
Yeah. Okay.
Woohoo! All right, and just like that, poof, we're out of here.
Is it time already?
Pretty much, yeah.
Got anything else new? What's going on tonight? Anything?
No, nothing tonight.
No meetings tonight. Nothing. Boring.
Would ask you to take a look and keep watching for the community bulletin board that public access that we're going to be running. It's basically the same as if you remember Channel 13 on your cable system. When they had community events.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
different.
when he mentioned May 31st, that's our carnival weekend.
Well, it's Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day
too, so.
weekend. Yeah. So we got the
a lot of things
coming,
going
a
on.
lot of stuff. Heroes Day, all that, or Utopia. It's not Heroes Day anymore. It's Utopia.
Yeah.
So yeah, fireworks that night. I think
Yes.
a lot of stuff going on.
I hear this year they're going to be doing upside down pineapple topia.
Well,
okay, excellent. Maybe 3 people will show up to that. I don't know.
Well, that's all you need. Oh God.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys, for coming in.
No
See you.
problem.
See you later. Have a good day, everyone.
you too.
See you next week.
Hasta luego.